Before I dive into the book, I just wanted to say thank you so much to anybody listening right now. I am extremely humbled that you would even take the time to, listen to my words and my experience and my knowledge. And my number one goal, as always, is to help bring more value to you and to anyone else in the insurance industry than anyone else ever has. So that's the reason I put this book together, truly to try to change someone's life out there, hearing my story, seeing the experiences, avoiding the same mistakes, and using some of these processes that are different in the business landscape today, in today's life and world. So this is the reason I put it together. I am extremely grateful. Thank you so much, and let's dive into it. Also, just wanted to say, please bear with me. I'm not a great reader. This is the first time I'm doing this, so please bear with me and let's do it. Introduction. Secrets revealed. On my first day working in insurance in 2014, I was 18 years old. My boss, Wayne, he did something that completely changed my life. He handed me a book, then told me to go home that night and read the first chapter. He said I didn't have to read the whole thing, just the first chapter. The book was called See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. At this point in my life, I literally had not read a complete book from start to finish. Even when I was in school, I was always reading Spark Notes or skimming through books just to get by on tests. Obviously, this scenario was a little bit different since this was my first real job, and I wanted to make a good first impression. I went home that night and read the first chapter as he told me to do. To cut to the chase, I was completely blown away. The words that I read in that book completely opened my mind to the possibilities and the potential that existed inside of me as a person, friend, future business owner, and much more. I was completely hooked, and I read that book cover to cover. So fast forward 8 years and lots of hard work, I now have my own insurance team of 4 and reading the exact same book every single Monday at 9 a.m. before the day starts. I truly believe that the insurance business is a self-improvement business. Your level of success completely depends on your performance, as well as your internal level of gratitude, perspective, determination to help others, and pure grit to win. So congratulations to you for seeking out this book of this sort. You are already on your way to the top. In this book, you will find short stories of my successes, stories of failures, and practical processes that have worked for me. Some of the concepts and tips in here are not traditional methods that other insurance agents have used to win in the past 10, 20, or even 30 years. What I've come to realize is that the insurance industry is extremely far behind on innovation. The business landscape is changing rapidly, and we must adapt. From my experience, I've seen the big agents out there withholding insurance secrets to their successes. They don't share the knowledge out there out of fear for others getting ahead. I believe that they are operating from a scarcity mindset. This book will help expose some of those industry secrets. I'm going to give away all my best tips and experience, and that you can use to your benefit. There is a huge opportunity to grow faster if you apply these ideas, and I believe that some of the old guys in the game are missing the boat completely. My number one mission is to help innovate and guide other insurance agents to expedite their process and find their way to the top. Chapter 1. What's your story? There are so many great stories out there that have never been told. Some that it can inspire a new generation and change the way people look at an industry completely. I pose this question to you. Have you told your story? I chose the name Adelfia Insurance, named after a small town in southern Italy that my grandfather and my family grew up in. The name is symbolic to my family because of my grandfather, who migrated to the United States with only $50 in his pocket and a suitcase full of clothes. He left Adelfia during the World War II when Mussolini was leading the country. Many don't know this, but Mussolini practically cut off the resources of southern portion of Italy as the country went off through financial hardship during the war. My grandfather told stories of incoming bomb warnings, shortage of food and supplies, and even cats going missing in the town. Yep, you guessed it. People started eating the cats because of the shortage of food. Just going off record here real quick for the first time in the book, my grandpa actually did tell a story as well where he had a pet goat during the World War II. I didn't mention this in the book, but I'm going to share it with you guys listening to the audio. They actually took his pet goat and they one night had it for dinner. He didn't know that they had killed his pet goat, his little baby pet goat, and they ate it for dinner. So jumping back in here. His story and his resilience when coming to the United States motivated me to continue living out the American dream and work hard to achieve my own goals. I found that my roots are what truly keep me grounded. All of my effort and hard work is inspired by my mission to eventually repay my family for the opportunities that they have provided me in my life. I believe that gratitude is the key to what has kept me so positive during all the ups and downs in this business. And guys, off record again, just for the record, there are tons of ups and downs in this business, so be ready. My journey in the insurance industry has been an amazing ride so far. I started working for a farmer's insurance agency when I was only 18 years old, just fresh out of high school. I got the job by asking an old friend what he had planned for work that summer. He replied to me, "Wait, you speak Spanish, right?" Luckily and by God's grace, his dad was looking for a Spanish-speaking CSR and needed to hire someone as soon as possible. Customer Service Representative is what CSR stands for. Shortly after, I interviewed and got the position working for Wayne, my first insurance mentor. On the first day in the office, the agency's office manager came up to my desk and showed me the phone. She gave me a list and told me to call customers to set FFRs, or farmer-friendly reviews. At this point, I was completely new to the business world and literally had no experience talking to customers over the phone. I stumbled through those first 50 calls, but I made it through. I'm sure you probably remember this feeling at some point in your sales career too. Ironically, growing up, I was always a bit shy. I never had problems making friends, but it took me some time to warm up to people that I didn't know. I remember coming home from work on the first day, the first week, and my dad asking me, "Are you sure you want to keep working in insurance?" He sensed that I was getting beaten up over the phone, which I totally was. Thankfully, I didn't listen to those words at all. I just kept showing up every single day and pushed through the fear. Thank God I did. After a few weeks of constant uncomfort of making cold calls, I realized that I actually liked what I was doing. I love every aspect of this business, whether it's building meaningful relationships, helping families protect their financial future, hiring, training amazing employees, marketing, and so much more. In my first year working in insurance, I also made a really crucial decision. Instead of trying new industries like real estate, mortgages, or, the corporate world, I chose to dedicate myself completely to the insurance game and become an expert in the industry. I believe that God guides us to find our passions in life, and luckily, He helped me find mine very early. During my time at Farmers, I learned the ins and outs of the business and how it operated and had excellent mentorship along the way. I started to lock in on the vision to start my own agency one day. Fast forward to 4 years, I decided to leave the Farmers family. Initially, this was a risky decision, but I knew that I could do this on my own. Recently, I even found some small notes that I would write up in a little folded up notepad paper and, stuff it in my pocket on the, end of the day. I found some really cool ones and they're in there in the book. So you can't see them, but I basically wrote myself notes on plans on how I was going to do it and start visualizing this from years. It was back in 2016 that I found this note. So by 2018, I launched my own independent insurance brokerage called Adelfia Insurance. At this point, I was 21 years old. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. If there was one thing I did know, it was that it was going to be a lot of work. And if I did it right, for people, everything would turn out okay. This was also a blessing from God's guidance. In those first few months, I learned the most I've ever learned about insurance in my life, much of which was through trial and error. I made mistake after mistake and got better every single day. As the saying goes, if you're not getting bloody, you're not in the game. I'll never forget the day after losing our biggest customer. This policy was over $200,000 in premium, and at the time it was making up like 25% of the business, so it really hurt. I remember thinking that this was a blessing in disguise. I had learned another extremely valuable lesson that day. That lesson is that your biggest customers are not always permanent. You cannot get comfortable regardless of how strong your relationship is. Even if the client is your cousin, it's hard to justify when another agent comes in with a quote that's $50,000 cheaper. You can't take this personally. It's just part of business. All you can do is be sharp as a tack, give 100% effort to provide the best quality service, maintain your integrity, and do the right thing for your customer every single year. I'm actually beyond grateful for the failures. I attribute this to my fail forward mentality that I am now hoping to bring light to you and everyone by reading this book. Over the years, I've talked to hundreds of successful agents across the country. I've modeled their successes and failures while testing their strategies, for myself. Today, the end goal of our book size, staff, and knowledge of the game are infinite. There is still a huge mountain to climb, but I'm a believer that if you help enough other people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. Wise words from the late, great Zig Ziglar. Let me say that again. If you help enough other people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. Whether it's, helping your customers, helping employees, friends, or family, I believe bringing massive value is what leaves a meaningful legacy and builds tremendous wealth. Whatever your mountaintop goal is, I want to help you reach it. There is only one condition in this book. It's that you apply these tips and have the discipline to do them to the best of your ability. The possibilities are endless in the insurance industry, and if you want it badly enough, you will go as far as the mind can comprehend and imagine. I truly believe that with every single cell in my body. When I was in the first 12 months of launching the agency, I came across a marketing guru. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. You might know him. If you don't, look him up on any social media platform and you can find him. He preached how important it is to actively have a digital presence in today's business landscape. He also preached about not really giving a shit about what people think about you. I listened to his advice and I started making YouTube videos, not knowing any of them, would ever do anything or what they would lead to. My gut told me that this was the right move. One day I decided I would make a video on how to start an insurance agency. It was pretty clear at this point that nobody was putting out any content around this topic, which was, why it was challenging for me in the first place to get the agency launched. I filmed the video on my little 250 square foot office with a cheaply painted green wall on my iPhone 6. I remember highly considering not posting it because the collar of my shirt was messed up and, my voice sounded pretty lame. You can go check this out for yourself by typing in how to start an insurance agency on YouTube. You could probably even see that green wall in there too. Honestly, my biggest concern was that people would make fun of me. That probably would have been the dumbest decision I've ever made by falling victim to the opinions of others. Thankfully, I listened to Gary instead and said, fuck it, I'm going to post this video anyway. 1 year later, the video had about, 300 views. The video sat on YouTube for about 11 months with little to no activity. One day, a good friend and mentor of mine saw my video and he liked it. He posted the video on a site which had a lot of activity for new insurance agents looking to start their own insurance agencies. The video and the YouTube algorithm started to pick up on the fact that users were engaging with it and getting some value. It started to really take off. The moral of the story here is that you create your own luck. One of the things I've realized in the past 4 years of owning my own agency is the harder I work, the luckier I get. At the time of writing this book, my YouTube videos have reached over 1.4 million people and have gotten over 100,000 total views combined. Had I worried too much about the judgment from friends, the audio, the color on my shirt, or the quality of the video, I would never be writing this book and you wouldn't be listening to these words. You must be completely independent of the good and the bad opinions of any other person. Post valuable content, put yourself out there. You never know who you might be helping. I have found throughout the years from intuition and personal experience that it's not always about making more sales and growing the business, which blinds so many agents. Part of crushing it is just simply being happy and truly loving your craft. There is no price you can put on happiness, so learn to love the process. Go to the meeting with the new realtor, help the lady jump her car outside, walk into a local charity event, or mentor the young guy who just needs some guidance. These actions just might make an impact on someone's life forever and the industry as a whole. Having a story is key to selling the vision and inspiration for your insurance agency. If you don't have a story, create one. Chapter 2, Attention. The most important question in our business is, how would someone buy from you if they don't even know who you are? If you're following along, you now have your story. So it's time people start hearing it. Studies show that after about 7 times of seeing someone over video, the human brain begins to process that interaction as if they've met you in real life. This is exactly why we start to feel like we know that celebrity or that YouTuber that we're always watching. I am super passionate about this topic. Capturing attention is, why you're reading this right now and why my agency has grown successfully over the past 4 years. Branding and marketing is a weird thing. Sometimes it feels like you're constantly putting out content and swimming upstream while nothing is happening. But then, boom! Picture this scenario. Your friend Mike, who's a follower of your insurance Instagram profile, he's susceptible to your daily posts from the business. Mike might encounter, a conversation with a friend, maybe Fred, possibly complaining about his insurance renewal coming up next month, or even something as simple as his rates. Whose face comes to Mike's mind? The ideal scenario would end up Mike telling Fred that he knows of an insurance agent that might be able to help. That's you. With this formula of consistent social engagement, this is surely possible. What would be even more ideal in this situation is, Fred hits you up the next week to run insurance quotes for him on his policy because Mike referred him and he trusts Mike. And it turns out it's a whopping $183,000 premium. The daily Instagram story was probably worth it, huh? I believe that consistency in your marketing is also the key to building long-term brand awareness and sales. Marketing creates leads. Leads create quotes. Quotes create sales. Sales create growth. And growth is bringing you one step closer to your mountaintop of success. We are essentially day trading attention. Think of it this way. If you're not running an insurance agency, you're actually running a marketing insurance agency, and it just happens to sell insurance. At the present moment of writing this book, the top platforms, organic reach, and best day trade for attention are TikTok and Instagram Reels. By posting any day of the week, your video can organically reach hundreds of people and possibly even thousands of people, even if your video completely sucks. On top of that, it's completely free. These platforms' dynamics can easily shift any day. They also don't have always the longest lifespan. Do you guys remember MySpace or Vine? After a while, everybody starts to get on board on these platforms and they become what's called saturated. Right now, there are more users than there is content, which makes it a good deal and an excellent platform to be active on. This means your videos will be shown to more people until everybody jumps on board and starts creating more content, which is happening quickly. Think about all the grandmas who are starting to use TikTok. Soon it will be all of them, just like what happened with Facebook. Basically, what I'm trying to say is don't overthink and start creating today. The window of opportunity is constantly closing, and you must take advantage if you want any level of success with organic marketing. Put down this book and stop listening for 3 minutes and film yourself saying something good about your insurance agency and why people should work with you, and post it on one of these platforms. For example, for you, just starting out, keep it simple, such as, hey friends, this is Mike here from ABC Insurance Agency. If you're looking for a good local insurance agent, here in Dallas, Texas, who can get you the best rates and the best service, give me a call. Locality is a free talking point. Always use it. I compare multiple insurance companies to get you to find you the best quality and best rate available. Is also, a great winning statement there. You compare multiple options and you're local, and people want to work with somebody they trust. Overall, your content can be super short, literally just 30 seconds. It doesn't need to have a super nice camera, nice lighting, or you don't need to be wearing a suit. Just speak your truth and don't post it. If you're completely naked, don't do that. Just speak your truth and post it. Trust me, you will not regret it. Chapter 3. Marketing your insurance agency. A lot of people don't feel comfortable getting in front of the camera and being on the record in front of all their friends and family. The great news is that there are so many other ways to reach people. Just like this, guys, off the record, I am just doing this a full audio recording. You can do this for yourself and make podcasts. It's important to look yourself in the mirror and find out which of these you're best at. Double down on your strengths. Here is a list of different marketing strategies in insurance that I highly recommend. TikToks and Instagram Reels for insurance. Short form content. YouTube videos on insurance. Long form content. Audio only podcast about insurance. Posting videos and photos on agency social media daily. Posting multiple stories daily on agency social media platforms. The stories are a little bit different, guys, than the posts. So use stories to your advantage. It's an easy thing. You can post almost anything on there. It just keeps them top of mind. Your name keeps popping up. Engaging in online communities. Establishing yourself as a digital mayor. Check out Nextdoor app. Also, Facebook has a ton of these. Join your local community groups and insurance groups. Text message your warm market, asking for referral partners, friends, family, and acquaintances. Do this regularly, but don't overdo this since these are your close connections. Sending out handwritten cards to referral partners, loan officers, real estate agents, etc. This is a great, thing to do every couple months. Shows a personal touch and, keeps you top of mind. Word of mouth from customers, why it's important to do a great job. Do a great job. Your people will do marketing for you. Digital marketing, paid ads on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Yelp, Google, different than organic stuff. You're actually paying for engagement. Business networking groups, BNI, LaTip, Rotary groups, or even your local chamber of commerce. Cold calls, texts, emails to prospects coming up for renewal. Find or buy lists of data. This is gold. Everything I said here is extremely valuable stuff that you can do for yourself. I would listen to this part again, write these down, take a look at the book, and make sure you're hitting all these avenues. Here is a list of different marketing strategies that I do not recommend, but may work for you. Billboards, shopping carts, bus stop benches. When was the last time you used any of these to contact somebody? Ask yourself that. Postcards, direct mailers. I don't like those. I get them all the time and never call anybody. Same thing with door hangers. TV commercials. I believe we're all just pulling out our phones and just looking at our phones the moment a commercial comes on anyway. So you're better off marketing on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or TikTok. Walking into physical locations, door knocking. It's great to do, but calling somebody is much faster. Your phone and your fingertips dialing a phone are much faster instead of walking every, door to door. And then lastly, waiting for the phone to ring. That's probably the worst thing you can do. It's not going to ring. You got to, make stuff happen. So now that you've heard this list, and I'm sure there's a bunch more that I'm missing, you need to ask yourself, which is the most efficient for you? We are essentially day trading attention. What is the most effective way to reach the people at the lowest cost possible, time and money? Another important factor to consider is, where are people actually looking for insurance? I like to ask myself this question, once in a while. Where would I go right now if I was looking for insurance? My answer in 2022 would be Google. I might also look at Instagram or Facebook for local agencies that look reputable. As I mentioned, there are different aspects to attention. People might be looking for insurance on Google, but what's the cost of ads and attention? Since we're competing with the big boys, Geico, Progressive, State Farm, Farmers, etc., the answer is very expensive. We must look at opening up as many different channels of attention as possible, at the lowest possible price, to optimize the amount of leads and funnels that go to your agency. Think of it like buckets. If it's raining outside and you're looking to collect water, you want to have as many buckets out as possible. You obviously want to have your biggest bucket out there and make sure it's not leaking. The other buckets are super important as well, and make sure you give them attention too. Here is a list of the most successful, extremely low cost referral lead sources, marketing strategies that I've discovered that have worked for me from when starting up completely from scratch. These are referral lead sources that are your buckets. State Farm and Farmers Agents referrals. These types of companies are considered to be captive, which means they are limited to the amount of products that they can shop around and have different options for. Captive agents can send you business that isn't eligible for them. For example, DUIs, homes and fire zones, or products that they can't write. Number 2, Facebook groups. Join the large Facebook group communities for insurance agents. Keep an eye out for agents in other states who are looking to refer business to an agent in your state. They do this from time to time since clients will move out of their state or have properties out of state. These are super easy deals and very low-hanging fruit, guys. Number 3, loan officers or realtor referrals. They can send you business when closing a deal on a new home. They have already built that trust with the customer and it's a super warm lead. These are probably my favorite sources of leads because of the consistency and the quality of the lead. People purchasing homes tend to care, a lot about investing in their investment and value of the insurance, which makes up for a superb customer. Number 4, local business networking groups. Joining local business networking groups is essential for your local branding. Everyone in these groups has personal insurance and they most likely need business insurance as well. They will also refer you friends and family if they like you. Also, a great way to establish yourself in the community, shake hands, and kiss babies. Number 5, cold email. This is free and just takes pure grit. I remember sitting in my office until 8 p.m. sending out at least 100 cold emails to potential referral partners and new homeowners before I left for the day. Even after 4 years, this is still a fantastic form of lead generation that I use. Cold calling, number 6. These aren't always fun, but when you get really good at them, you can create endless opportunities. Remember, the most successful people in the business are most likely there because at some point they made some cold calls and got out of their comfort zone. Pick your top 5 dream prospects and call them every week. Number 7, current customers. Your current customers are the best referrals available. They already trust you with their credit card information and protecting some of their biggest assets. If you do a great job and provide them excellent service, they are usually more than happy to connect you with a friend or family member that you can quote as well. All you have to do is ask. Marketing pipelines and strategies that are working in present day 2022. Number 1, TikTok. This has exploded in the last couple of years. It's a short form of content where you can have about 10 to 60 seconds to capture someone's attention. Many successful people are using it for education, inspiration, and humor. If you can blend all 3 of those together, you're on the right track. Number 2, Instagram Reels. These are also another form of short form content, very similar to TikTok and requires creativity. We tend to base this content off of humor, pure entertainment, relevant trends, and motivational or informative themes. This is where we make insurance light and less boring and dry. Number 3, YouTube. This is more of a long-form content platform where you can make about 5 to 10 minute educational videos or possibly even vlog style walking through your day. I believe this can be used to document your process. You can always use a larger source of content, to snippet clips into other platforms such as TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Off the record, I think it's excellent to document your process, especially if you're just getting going, to be able to look back 5, 10, 20 years to see how you did it, even pass it on to your grandkids, and they could be like, look at Grandpappy Chris, he made all those good videos about insurance, and he is a killer. Number 4, LinkedIn. As always, a great platform to create content based around the ideal business owner or referral partner that you're trying to reach. This is also known as your avatar. Maybe it's loan officers, realtors, or maybe it's construction companies. Post and bring valuable content to other professionals and engage as much as you possibly can. A few points on the above strategies. Number 1, you need to do your homework and spend about 10 hours on these platforms so you truly understand how they're working. You cannot have someone else figure this out for you. Do not be lazy and make sure you do the work. If you decide to delegate at some point, You need to have a strong enough pulse on how these platforms are actually working and to the degree to be able to distinguish whether your hired marketing specialist is doing a good enough job. Number 2, I chose those strategies because they are currently the best organic reach that is completely free in the marketplace in present day 2022. These platforms can easily shift or change algorithms, and you need to be ready to adapt. Number 3, don't overthink your stuff. Everyone thinks that they need to have a super nice camera or fancy lights. No, you don't. My number 1 video on YouTube was filmed on an iPhone 6 in a shitty little office with a green wall. My collar on my shirt was sloppy. You can go check it out yourself. And I was literally not about to post it, because I felt self-conscious. Go post. Chapter 4, closing deals. If you do everything right from chapter 1, 2, and 3, you should be making some noise. Get excited. You will likely start to hearing people say, "Hey, I saw your video," or "I keep seeing you every time I open up social media." This is a good sign that what you're doing is right. Don't be discouraged if people hate on you. I will never forget when I first started, I had someone say to me, "Looks like you're making more videos than you are making sales these days." I laughed it off and I just kept hustling. With the new attention you're generating, you're likely going to be getting new referrals and new leads as well. You now have more at-bats, and it's perfect time to perfect your swing. You must be ready to convert these into sales. Don't let the hard-earned work you're putting in, opportunities, slip through the cracks. Here are some tips you can use to close the deal. Number 1, we instead of I. Switching your wording to we is super important when presenting quotes. An example would be, "We increased your coverage to 100, 300, and we'll be saving roughly $821 each year. We will just need to get this initial payment of $321 to get the policy started." This makes the prospect feel like it's a team effort and we are both working towards the same goal. Number 2, assume. Always assume that the customer will buy the policy. This was a huge game changer for me. You can start using words like, "Let me know when you would like to get the policy started," instead of saying, "Let me know if," or "Would you like to proceed?" The assumptive close implies that the product is right for you and we're moving forward together. It's not a question. It can definitely feel uncomfortable applying this at first, but trust me, it will increase your closing rate significantly. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Number 3, bundling. This is key to adding more premium policies sold each month. The customer already trusts you with one line of their business and their credit card. It is your duty as an agent to ask if you can quote, bundle their other policies. This is almost always in the best interest of the customer as well, having all of their policies under one roof. You must ask every single time. Number 4, gather ammo. Before you even start quoting someone, it's extremely important to know why they're even shopping or interested in a quote in the first place. Find out what they value before you even start a quote. Ask the prospect, are you looking for a cheaper price, better coverage, better service? What can we help you today with, Mr. Prospect? The answer to those questions is how you're going to close the deal. You can subtly bring it back up once the quotes are presented. For example, you could say, "As you see here, we got you a great A+ rated company, a better price, and increased your personal property coverage as you mentioned. Did you have any questions before we get this going for you?" You see how I was assumptive there again? If you don't get this information up front, you're quoting in the dark. So don't be shooting in the dark and make sure you have some ammo. Number 5, following up. The gold lives in the follow-up. You need to develop a system and a process to make sure you're consistently following up with leads. I like to follow up every other day until my customer buys. Make sure you have a whiteboard, pipeline, or Excel sheet where you track all of your customers every single day. Deals die with time. Don't let them sit too long. It is in the best interest of everyone for you to close the deal as soon as possible. The customer gets what they need immediately, and you make money faster. Everyone wins. A good line to use there is when a deal is dragging out is, "Mr. Prospect, The quote we have here saves you money and gets you better coverage. Let's get this off your plate so you can focus on more important things. We just need that initial payment of $281. Let's get this going for you. And make sure you ask for the order every single time. Number 6, retargeting. One major mistake I always used to make in the first 12 months is not tracking all of my leads and prospects. There were hundreds of them. They got buried into old notepads and emails, and I lost them all. Always track your leads on an Excel sheet with the name, phone number, and email as soon as you get sign of interest from the customer. This is always important so that you can retarget them at a later time using automation or other tools to stay in front of them and win their business. You want to stay in front of them as long as you possibly can until they buy from you. If you need help with this, check out the lead data tracking sheet on chriscostantini.com. Number 7, ask for the order. This one sounds so obvious and I keep repeating myself, but it's not uncommon to forget. Especially when presenting large premium policies, we sometimes get in our heads in fear of asking for the sale. There are hundreds of different ways to close a deal. One example I used here was the assumption close, and as I mentioned before, you need to ask for the order. Make sure to apply the most fitting close for the deal and ask for the order. This is mandatory. Closing deals is an art. I believe some people are born with the sauce naturally, and some people need to learn it. This chapter will hopefully allow you to understand the essence of what it is to be a good salesperson and close more deals. I truly believe that if you simply prime yourself with the mindset that your intention is to be 100% helping someone get into a better situation, you will find more success. I try to remind myself of this every single time before I call a client, prospect, or do a cold call. To be successful in sales, you need to be creative. You must be willing to cold call a company and ask for the person who's in charge. When the gatekeeper says, who is this? What do you want? You need to be ready to pivot and use that moment to find out who's in charge of making the insurance decisions. If you do well enough, they will give your name to the department and who handles the insurance. Now, you might get the name of that person as well. When you call back 2 weeks later and specifically ask for Michelle from accounting, they might just put you through because of your confidence and certainty. Sales is literally just a transfer of certainty. You need to be so confident and sure about your product that they can feel you and your certainty through the phone. This is how the transfer happens between a salesperson and a customer. They begin to believe what you believe. As they say, the biggest, most important sale you'll ever make is selling yourself. You need to get yourself sold on insurance. Insurance is an amazing thing, and people don't really take the time to think about it. Oftentimes, it can truly be one of the only good things that's there for you in some of the most darkest moments of your life. Imagine your house burning, a terrible car crash, or even someone dying suddenly. All terrible things. But guess what, is there to help them? Insurance. Remember, what you say to a customer today can influence their decision and the results they're having tomorrow. Take pride in selling these products and giving the best advice with confidence. Understanding and believing in your product is vital to your success in closing deals. From there, your scripts and closing strategies are just guides to enhance your success. Not to be confused, scripts and closing strategies are super important. The key is making sure that your script and close is completely memorized. You always want to read from a proven script, meanwhile not sounding like you're reading from a script at all. You need to memorize these, which only happens from constant practice and improvement. This doesn't happen overnight, but you need to get there and make it happen. If you're not getting bloody, you're not in the game. Another gold nugget I received from an agent who I had previously had sold the largest insurance policy in the United States was, get them to agree to buy before you even quote it. This is the key when selling large insurance policies. Sometimes getting quotes can take hours, days, and even weeks of your time. You want to make sure your time is used wisely, so make sure you're not spinning your wheels. The trick to this golden nugget is asking your client, sir, before I get started on quoting this for you, what would it take to earn your business? He might say you have to be 5% cheaper, or you need to get me a better coverage at a better company or better price. From there, you can look to the client in the eye and shake his hand and say, thank you. I will get to work on this, and hopefully we can do business together once I do what you said. At this point, if you can meet the prospect's conditions, you pretty much have their word that they will move forward. If they don't proceed, then there are other uncertainties about other than the price, coverage, or possibly you. That needs to be addressed and overcome. By following this strategy, you will save time and money, which is vital to your insurance agency's growth and efficiency. Here are some of the questions I will ask before I even start quoting. Which company are you currently with, sir? What are you looking for, sir? Are you looking to save money? Better coverage? Are you being canceled? Better service with your agent? If price were not a factor, sir, what do you value in your insurance coverage? How much are you currently paying, sir? Sir, do you mind if I take a look at your current policy? A strategy that I learned that has helped me double and triple my sales is called driving the wedge. It simply means you're painting a picture and planting a seed of doubt in the customer's mind when explaining coverages and comparing them to their current situation. The insurance industry is all about painting pictures, guys. Make sure whenever you talk to somebody, paint the picture. There is a flow of a sale from start to finish. Here is an example of that flow. Step 1, the opening. Sales is about asking quality questions. Sir, what can I do to help you today? Sir, other than price, what's the most important thing to you about choosing the right insurance carrier to protect your family? A lot of times you'll hear people say, nothing, I just care about the cheapest price. A good response would be, sir, so you're saying if you open a claim and you don't hear from us for 2 to 3 weeks, you wouldn't care? See how I made it kind of funny there? Just laugh it off. Sir, what do you care? What do you like about your current carrier? What do you dislike about your current carrier? Who are you currently with, sir? Why are you shopping today? What do you value? Answers like these will be used to close the deal, so make sure you gather that ammunition. Step number 2, driving the wedge. This is where you actually build the value. When's the last time you sat down with your agent, sir, and went over the coverages you currently have in detail? Sir, what kind of coverage do you have right now? Sir, do any of these limits sound familiar? 1530 or maybe 2550? How'd you come up with that coverage you have? Did you choose it yourself? Did your agent suggest it? Sir, if you hit somebody today and they were actually injured, like seriously injured, resulting in a lawsuit, $1 million, $2 million, how much would your current carrier cover you for? Remember, sir, the people that want your money are sitting in that other car. Nowadays, there are hundreds of accident attorneys. You see them on the billboards, on the freeways for situations just like these. Let's make sure you're covered properly. As you know, sir, hospital bills these days are not cheap. If you send someone to the hospital with a broken arm or, God forbid, more serious injuries, you're looking at a bill that's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sir, would you agree with me that you'd rather pay a little bit more to have exactly what you want and need? That right there, guys, that's driving the wedge. I'm painting these pictures. I'm putting up these scenarios. If you hit the back of the Tesla, sir, you look down for just a split second texting and you hit somebody, you just happen to be a doctor. God forbid the guy's really hurt, can't work for months. He's going to be in the hospital, man. That's going to cost hundreds of thousands. You got 1530 state minimum liability coverage. That's up to $30,000. And he's got his kids in the back, man. That's going to be hundreds of thousands. Let's make sure you get the right coverage. Let's quote you out. I'll give you a couple options. And step number 3, the quote presentation. Making the numbers look pretty. Always present quotes from highest price to lowest price. The human brain is programmed to like seeing these numbers in threes. You're giving multiple options and also kind of sticker shocking the customer on the high option. They will likely go with the mid or the low, which increases your chances of closing the deal. An example is company A, full coverage high quote, $1,000 a month. Company full coverage B, mid quote, $750 a month. Full coverage option number C, low coverage, $500 a month. You'll likely end up going with the mid or the low. If he really values his insurance, he'll go with the high. Always make sure the client can see the quotes in an email or in front of them visually. It's key to making a decision. Always add in the discounts later. These can be used later in the deal if the price is an objection. You don't want to add these up front. Keep these in your back pocket once it's time to negotiate and move forward. Go through the coverages and explain the difference. Paint that picture, explaining the high coverage. If you were to hit somebody with that in that Tesla and injured the driver, you'd be covered for up to $500,000 with the mid option, and on the low option, you'd be covered up to $300,000 in case of a liability lawsuit. Step number 4, closing the deal. This is a beautiful spot to be in once you're in the close. This is when you can get in the pocket and get a little bloody and ask for the money. Always ask for the order. If they say they like one of those options and those packages, say, great, sir, let's get this going for you. We just need that initial payment of $294 to get started. Did you want to use today's date as the effective date? In a perfect world, they will say yes, and you can take a payment, but that doesn't always happen. Actually, almost it never happens. Most of the time, you'll get some form of objection, which isn't really an objection. It's just them complaining. Here are a couple tips to overcome common objections when you're in the close. I'll call you back later. Mike, I completely understand. I'm happy to chat later, but let me ask you, is it the price that's holding you back from getting it going? Is it the coverage that I gave you on the quotes? Or is it me, Mike? He's probably going to respond something like, oh no, man, I just got to think about it. I'll call you later. Look, Mike, if it's all three look good, if it's the price looks good, the coverage looks good, and you want to work with me, let's get this going for you and off your plate so you can focus on more important things for yourself and your business. Can I get this started for you today, Mike? Let's get this going. I got to talk to my wife. So many times we hear this in the insurance industry. They got to run it by their wife. No worries, Mike. I completely understand. I do the same exact thing. I always check with my wife, girlfriend, sister before making an important decision. Mike, she probably knows you're here. She probably knows you're shopping. Am I right about that? Perfect, Mike. That's fantastic. If the coverage is right and we're taking excellent care of you, Mike, the price is right, let's get this going for you so you can focus on more important stuff. I'm sure she'll be happy you did. Can we get this going for you, Mike? Let's get this going today. I need to think about it. Mike, I completely understand. Now, do you think you need just a week? Do you need a couple days to think about it? So, Mike, whether it's 1 day, 2 days, a month, you're going to just be faced with 3 questions. Can I share those with you real quickly? Mike, does the product get you what you want? Is it the right coverage? Is that really what is the coverage right? Is the price right, Mike? Can you afford the product? And lastly, Mike, am I someone that you trust to do your insurance? And do you want to work with me? If he says all 3 to those, guys, then you got to wrap it up. You can respond by saying, now, Mike, if those 3 things look like they line up well, all we need is the initial payment of $3,490 today. Notice I said $3,490. You want to just say $3,490. And let's get this wrapped up. Pro tip, you should be feeling very, very calm when closing a deal. Physical reactions should not exist in the close. If you're still feeling nervous or shaky when you need more practice. A few things you can do is practicing your pitch in the mirror, role playing with your team or someone as the customer and the advisor, and clearly visualizing that sale going through. See it happening. Chapter 5, Processes and Procedures. For a long time, I was super confused on what it meant to actually have processes and procedures. What would they look like? Should I have them in a binder? What will they do? And how will everyone follow them? I began to realize I'm in full control of the answers to this. The best advice I got on establishing my own processes and procedures was to just start writing. Open up a Google Doc sheet and start listening to the processes and writing them down, how you do everything and anything. Having these written down is essential. It might not matter to you today because you already know how to do everything, but what happens when you have an employee? Then you have 3 employees, then you have 10. It's critical to have something that everyone can look at and use as a standard practice. This will also allow you to hold your employees accountable to the process. For example, checking in on a renewal. At my agency, we send an email out 60 days, which is automated in advance to the renewal. Then our service team will call the customer within 30 days prior to the renewal for a review on all of their coverages. This is a great opportunity to make sure the customer is happy, to double check that they are covered, and also uncover any cross-selling opportunities for stuff they don't have with your agency already. I believe that having a thorough process and procedure is the key to a successful business. Without the processes in place, you are not scalable. If you can't scale the business efficiently, then you'll pay the price. Inefficiencies result in losing money in the long term. Make sure that you have processes dialed in early. This will be the foundation to building your agency. They don't need to be perfect, but you need to start writing. Here are a few processes I recommend for perfecting your insurance agency. Process number 1, inbound service call process. Point out something positive about your customer's policy. Thank you for being with us for 2 years. Always review the customer's policy. Make sure they're getting the discounts, the coverage is all right. Make recommendations. I see you have the auto, but you don't have the home. Can we run you a quote for the homeowners? Process number 2, quoting process. Track your client in the management system the moment you hear they need a quote. Compare multiple companies for them. Send quote emails with 3 different options. Follow up with your lead until you close the deal. Process number 3, new sale process. Send a welcome email with the evidence of insurance once you onboard a customer. Send a new customer a welcome card. Email the customer a survey and Google review request once the policy is sold. Process number 4, renewal process. Automate an email 60 days reminding the customer of the renewal. Call the customer within 30 days before the renewal and review their policy. Send a customer a loyalty card after the renewal is complete. Process number 5, claims process. Keep customers calm and ask them if they're okay. Guide customer on how to prevent further damage or loss to their claim. Provide customer the carrier claims number so that they can start the claim. Open up the claim for the customer if they need it. Follow up with an adjuster and set reminders to follow up with the customer to make sure the claim is going smooth. Process number 6, hiring process. Have an initial phone call with your potential employee. Send the potential employee details of the job. Have a potential employee complete an assessment. Official interview prepared questions with the potential employee. Review the interview with your team members and get feedback to see if they are a good fit with them. Send the official offer or declination email to the potential employee. Process number 7, onboarding a new employee process. Set an employee contract. Set expectations and have a 90-day probation period. Familiarize the employee with the systems. Have a 30-day plan to execute the onboarding. So the processes we use are extremely detailed, so much so that they can't all be listed here. These are just a handful of the important ones. If you're having trouble creating your own, you can also check out the agency processes on chriscostantini.com. Another example of a process is a new sale. After you close a deal, what do? Do you send an email with the evidence of insurance? Do you send the customer with a welcome card to your agency? Do you ask them to write for a review on Google or Yelp? Make sure you have this listed out and make sure you stick to it religiously. This can be a required checklist for anyone that you add to your team. Automation is also an excellent way to streamline some of these processes in your agency. I highly recommend starting out with something basic like a birthday card. There are systems out there that can connect with your management system and get these automations rolling. Setting up your processes and procedures is a constant work in progress. You need to put yourself in the customer's shoes. What do you want the experience to look like when working with your agency? From there, you can start to make adjustments and put the most important pieces of that puzzle in place in your processes. Chapter 6, Scaling the Business. Scaling the agency is kind of like a plane taking off. You have to have certain things in order for it to depart properly without crashing and burning into the ground. Obviously, you'll need a pilot, engine speed, a good runway, and most importantly, the timing to lift the nose up. There is a right time to take off once the speed is right. Similarly, there is a right time to start scaling your agency. The beauty of this business is in the renewals. The first year in business, you don't have any renewals, so you're working purely on new commissions. This means that the first year, it is very difficult to scale since there is no base income flowing unless you purchase a book or an agency. The key to success in scaling is having something that you can put more money into and expect a direct return on your investment from. An example is if you increase marketing spend by $1,000, you will see an increase in the commissions by $500 in the first year. Once you have a solid year of premium on the books, you will have chips to play with. Now that you have those chips in year 2, you can allocate that money towards revenue generating areas such as hiring, training, marketing spend, attracting new talent, retention, etc. Reinvesting early in the business means you're probably taking very little money home yourself. So be prepared for that and don't overextend your personal lifestyle. Also, keep in mind you're building equity into your business. That also typically is worth 3 to 4 times the net income if you decide to sell your agency one day, depending on the state you're in. It's not always about the direct cash flow to your pocket. These are 4 areas that are crucial to be dialed in before scaling. Area 1, marketing. Understand your plan to get more customers and leads in the door. This needs to be something that is scalable. Like I said, you put more money into it and it's proven to get a return on investment. You must understand the LTV or lifetime of your customer. If a customer's policy has an average commission of $100 and on average they stay as a customer for 5 years, then your lifetime value is $500. This will help you make more strategic decisions on how much you should be willing to spend to acquire a new customer. Area number 2, sales. Make sure you have sufficient premium commission to cover the cost of your new expenses that you're adding on as you scale. Also, make sure you have the capacity to manage leads with a trained team who can actually close the deals. The worst thing you can do is have leads slipping through the cracks. Area number 3, service. Have your service process down to make sure you retain customers. You do not want them to cancel on you in the first few years. If you do that, you lose the base income and will be left in a very uncomfortable, tricky spot. Area number 4, accounting. This is essential, guys, going off the record. Know your numbers. Do not neglect the expenses and financial health of your business. Taxes, overhead, rent, etc. need to be dialed in and very clear on a month-to-month basis. I highly recommend you get a bookkeeper or a CPA if those are not your strengths. If you are extremely confident that you know how to build and scale effectively, you may want to borrow some money up front to scale the process. I don't recommend this if you still feel uncomfortable in any of the areas I've mentioned before. The right time to borrow money and pump more cash into the machine is when you are 100% certain that you know that you would do something with that money and have a clear plan. Every year, I'm looking to increase our marketing spend and add 1 producer to the team. Over the past 3 years, our annual premium on average has come into roughly $600,000. This means we're adding about $60,000 in new net commissions and profit annually, which can basically cover the base salary of a new employee and additional marketing spend. Some might say that the business is breaking even and possibly even taking a loss. In some cases in the last couple of years, that has definitely been true. I've definitely taken losses and barely broken even over the past 3 years. The metaphor of the insurance business is, if I offered you to pay you $20 today in return for me giving you $5 for the rest of your life, would you take it? Let me read that again. If I offered you to pay me $20 today, so let me say that one more time, sorry. If I offered you to pay me $20 today in return for me giving you $5 for the rest of your life, would you take it? Give me $20, I'll give you $5 forever. Would you do it? Once that concept makes sense, you will operate differently. You will know how to use LTV to your advantage and grow for the long term. Don't be afraid to gamble a bit. Just make sure you're running calculated risks and reducing the chances of a loss as much as possible. For example, you can actually forecast growth in the business. If you sold $250,000 in the first year, you can probably bank on doing that same amount in year 2, and probably even more. I decided to be aggressive early on and hire people with plans to have revenue higher by that time. As a backup, I always had a cash reserve in case everything just went to zero. Make sure to always keep money in place for a rainy day. The more aggressive you are with scaling earlier on, the faster your agency is going to grow. But remember, there is a right time to do this. If you try to scale too fast without having the proper foundation in place, the whole thing can just fall over. Get your foundation right, and once you do, put your foot on the gas. Chapter 7, Hiring and Firing. I hate firing people. It honestly sucks. I would say this is probably the worst part of running a business, and I never look forward to it. It takes a lot of emotional strength and confidence as a leader to tell somebody that they're not performing and no longer have a place in your agency. One thing I will say, as you start to do it more often and go through similar scenarios, seeing similar patterns, it does become easier and more bearable. Still, it's never fun. You're also going to start getting better at identifying the red flags that will eventually lead to a termination and help you avoid it all in the first place. Establishing a strong team foundation and building a positive company culture is essential to an insurance agency's success. I'm going to say that again. Establishing a strong team foundation and building a positive company culture is essential to an insurance agency's success. Finding great people isn't easy, but if you look in the right places, you will inevitably find the right diamond. I believe that you're only as good as your team. Make sure you take the time to actively search for great talent. Just like selling policies, you need to pitch people on working for you. Make sure you're marketing your agency an attractive place to work and are attracting talent. If you come across a great waiter, banker, or even college student, ask them if they're interested in a job. It never hurts to ask, and they could be your next superstar. You can't build something great without quality people. It is much better to be overstaffed than it is to be short-handed. Lacking capacity and support will lead to long-term issues with customer service and retention. This can cost you thousands in the long run. You always want to be prepared to fill in a spot in your business. Always be hiring. I personally like to lead with optimism and follow my gut. If you feel like someone could be a great fit, take a chance on them. At the very same time, be very aware of red flags. If you start to notice inconsistencies in their story or work experience, this could be a big red flag. If you notice excuses being made in the first 90 days of employment, you will likely see these issues persisting. You always want to see the good in people and give the candidate, the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, it's essential to act quickly. Usually, if something does seem off, then it probably is. Although it could be a coincidence, that they got sick and their car broke down, and that was just happened to happen the day before their license test. Maybe they're just unlucky. The key here is to have a proven process. If the candidate is hired and is on their 90-day probation and the red flags start to pop up again, it's a good sign you're going to need to cut them loose. Some studies even show that a bad hire can cost a business up to $70,000 each year. Don't get trapped with a bad employee that's sinking the ship. You will know if you have a winner. These decisions aren't always black and white. If you don't have a hiring management experience, this might not come naturally to you. I highly recommend reading a few books on how to be a great manager and bring out the best in people. A few great books that I read and have helped me tremendously in becoming a better manager and leader were the following: The New 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard and Making of a Manager by Julie Zhao. I highly recommend checking these out, as they could be some of the best investments in your business that you've ever made. And as they always say off the record, the best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Paying $11, $12, $15 for this ebook and this audiobook could be some of the best stuff ever. If something just clicks in here that just gets you to the next level, and you hear something in here that just brings you that one piece of gold, it makes it all worth it and brings you back tenfold. So always reinvest in yourself. It's a huge, huge thing. And I think a lot of, especially young people these days, don't see the value, and you have to. One major takeaway from my experience is that it's essential to keep up with your employees on a one-to-one basis. Checking in with them at a minimum of once a month is vital to the business culture and health. This is an opportunity for the open conversation with your team members with the door closed and full trust in each other. I push heavily on communicating openly with zero judgment. I even preface these meetings with, even if you want to work somewhere else, I'm always going to do what's best for you. I mean that with all of my heart. Yes, I am the boss and I'm in charge of running the agency, but I'm also human and have some empathy, so much empathy and love for each and one of my team members. Without them, we can't do what we do. On top of that, we practically become a family. Having deep levels of trust makes a big difference in your team culture. Not only will it allow your team members to feel heard, but it will also allow you to open up on a more real level and understand what they're feeling. I prepare before these meetings to make sure I hear any concerns and address issues accordingly. You want to become a great listener and ask quality questions. Find out what is motivating them, what's keeping them excited to be the best versions of themselves every single day. Your goal as the boss is simply to bring out the best in your team every single day. Once you have that dream team, make sure to keep them happy. Set up the agency with a positive environment that they're excited to come into every day. Take them out to lunch once in a while. Give them a raise here and there. Celebrate their birthdays and simply highlight them when they're doing something great. The best way to bring out the best in your team is by positively reinforcing their good behaviors. This will not only make them feel good when they go home that day, but also want to keep doing the good things that are helping the business grow. Don't ever lead with fear or negativity. I promise you this will hurt you in the long run. Off the record, I don't know how people can even live with themselves, like driving fear and negativity into their people. It's gotta be a toxic environment, and eventually those weeds start to really pop up. And you might win in the short run, but in the long run, at the end of the game, you're winning at halftime, but who's going to win the real game at the end? I have a strong feeling that the people that lead with positivity are going to retain and have better people that are happier and going to win in the long run. A great example of this philosophy is John Wooden. John Wooden was a legendary UCLA men's basketball coach who was famous for his leadership style. He won 10 of the 12 national championships during his time as a coach there. The most interesting part of his success is that he led his team with rarely ever mentioning winning. It's not about winning. It's simply about bringing out the best in your people every single day. The most effective way to do that is by leading by example. Make sure you're walking the walk and not just talking the talk. It's a cliche, but I know I found it to be so true. You really work for your people. They don't work for you. Be the first one in the office and the last one to leave. Show up every single day with a smile on your face and inspire your team to improve the lives of everyone around them as well. Closing. It all starts with you. It all starts with you. Like I said at the beginning of this book, this is a self-improvement business. That doesn't mean that you just improve yourself. You improve the lives of all of those around you every single day. Make it a mission that you're going to improve yourself so much that everyone's life around you will also get better. To do that, you need to take pride in your work. Work hard on your business. Meditate for 10 minutes daily so you feel present. Go for a run to help clear your mind of the stress, and wake up before the sun rises to gather your thoughts. These simple yet challenging actions will give you the confidence and composure you need to be a great leader and to be the best version of yourself. Just don't forget to smile and enjoy the process. The process is the best part of it all. I am beyond grateful for this opportunity to share my story and my experience with you in this short book. I honestly never imagined myself to be in this position, to be bringing value to other people in this way, and I honestly owe all of this to my faith in God. So shout out to God on this one. If I can change even one life for the better by writing this book, my goal is complete here. I am on a mission to help bring more value to the insurance industry than anyone else ever has. My only ask of you in this book is to please support the message by leaving a 5-star and positive review on Amazon or any other platform that you got this book. This will help others see the true value we're trying to spread here and reach more agents across the industry. I hope that you picked up on the essence of my spirit that I sprinkled into this writing this book here. It's not about making more money, sales, or acquiring fame. The spirit is about making an impact and leaving a legacy. As insurance agents, we have the ability to protect the financial future of hardworking people with the words we choose when selling an insurance policy. It's a huge responsibility that you cannot take for granted. Remind yourself of that every single day. Remember, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Keep these tips in mind and use them to the best of your ability. I guarantee you that if you do it the right way and you work extremely hard, I will see you at the top very soon.